Come on. Come on out of there. Oh, shoot.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining me again today. You're watching In Deep on the Delta, and this is the weekly Delta fishing report for April 29th. I'm going to start off with a couple of quick public service announcements. Last week I announced that local people that I've been talking to up at Clear Lake are afraid that the lake is going to be closing due to low water. And the water is continuing to drop about an inch a day, and it looks like sometime around the 1st of July that lake may be closed. And I keep saying the lake's going to be closed. What I should be saying is that the public ramps are going to be closed. The lake will be open, but the boat ramps will close. And I wanted to let all the kayakers that watch the program know that you should be keeping an eye on this, because if they close the ramps, you can still take your kayak up there and put it in and fish without the bass boats up there. So that might be a good opportunity for the kayakers. Keep an eye on Clear Lake. If the ramps close, that's your opportunity to go up there and fish the lake without 1,000 bass boats running around. That's the first public service announcement. Next announcement, I want to make sure that all of you guys, if you don't know about Tactical Bassin, Matt Allen, you need to check out his channel. Matt has a new video out. It's about a week old, and it has, I think the video is called 5 Sight Fishing Mistakes That You Don't Want to Make. It's one of his best videos, and I've watched most all of his videos, and he's done a ton of great ones, but this is a really good video, especially if you plan on fishing the Delta in the next month, when we're starting to see these big fish pull in onto beds, and we're going to be doing some sight fishing. It has a lot of really great information, so watch Matt Allen's 5 sight fishing mistakes that you don't want to make. Really great video. Last but not least, I just want to let everyone know the last 10 days or so I've been seeing a lot of fish and game biologists out here. They're moving around, they're checking out vegetation, and what that means is they're putting together their plan, their spray plan for the year. So be aware that in the next few weeks we're probably going to start seeing the guys out here spraying the hydrilla and the vegetation out here. Again, it's their job. It's a necessary evil. Don't hassle them. If it wasn't for those guys doing the spraying, we probably wouldn't be getting into the ramps, the boat ramps, and having the opportunity to get out here and fish. So just expect the spraying to start within a few weeks. Okay, let's get right into the fishing report. We'll start off with stripers, and I am combining my report from Hook, Line, and Sinker, Outdoor Sportsman, and Captain Jeff from Soo Hoo Guide Fishing, or Soo Hoo Sportfishing. And the striper fishing this week has been tough. The shops that are reporting from mostly reports from weekend anglers, they're having a real struggle. Guys that are out there are catching 1 or 2 fish. The bite just isn't what it was last week. Now, talking with Captain Jeff, he's had a good week, but he attributes his success to just really being out there every day and knowing the water and the tides. And he's finding a lot of fish, but he suggested that just because the fish are there doesn't mean they're going to bite. You have to find the right pods of fish. You have to know where they're schooled up, what the tide's doing, and be able to look at that fish and tell if that's going to be a feeding school. And he's finding a lot of those big schools that are out there just aren't fish that are feeding. And with his experience, he can move around and find the fish that are feeding. He has been getting a lot of fish drifting live bait. When the wind kicks up, sometimes he'll troll, but this week it's been mostly live bait. So I guess his suggestion, or my suggestion, would be, even if you're on fish, if they're not biting, don't spend a lot of time on one school of fish. Work that school for 15-20 minutes. If you don't get them, move out, troll down the bank, or move to another school and fish those. Don't hang around for a long time trying to make the fish bite. That's a striper report. The largemouth bass, I wish I had a better report. It has been extremely difficult for most people, largemouth bass. Let's talk about water conditions and weather conditions. It's been breezy out here every day. Now there's nothing that you can't fish in. It's probably most days around 15 to 20. A good day we're getting 8 to 12, but you're gonna deal with a little wind out here. Nothing dangerous, so if you can come out on the weekend and that's your day to fish, don't be afraid of a 15 to 20 mile breeze, 15 to 20 mile an hour breeze. You can find places to fish, and you can get out here and have a day on the water. Water clarity is anywhere from 4 to 6 feet in some areas, and it could be up to 8 or 10 feet in other areas. It just depends on where you are, but it's generally pretty clear, and the water clarity is not going to stop the fish from biting. It's just the fish are on a very difficult bite. Water temperatures have not gone up. They have actually dropped a degree or two. It was 59 degrees this morning. It's at 11 o'clock. It had warmed up to about 64, but it has been 67, even 68 last week on a few days. And these cold nights and this wind have just dropped the temperature. And I think everything combining with the clear water, kind of a barometer that's jumping around a little bit, the windy conditions, and everything put together has just put these fish, and the water temperature dropping, everything has just put these fish on a funk. I've had an absolute terrible week. It's just been a grind for everything that I can do. There's just no patterns. I'm fishing, and I get a fish here, a fish there, but nothing really going. All of my reports this week, there's been a few people say they've caught fish, but for the most part, it's been, if they were catching fish last week, it's much slower this week, or they're just not catching any fish. Same with the shops. They're just not, people are not sending reports in because they're probably sick and tired of coming out here and having really tough days. They're waiting to get a good report. So with that, make sure, whether you're catching them or not, send me a report. It doesn't have to be a big one. Steve, I was out Wednesday. I didn't get a darn thing. I know that I can, kind of formulate what's going on out here. So before I leave you, I'd like to talk about what I have been doing and how I've caught my fish. You saw the intro. I lost one big fish. That was the one big bed fish that I saw and I was able to hook, and I lost that one. And that's probably about 40 hours of fishing to find that one fish. The bed fish that are on a bed are hard to find, and they're not really locked onto beds. So sight fishing right now for bed fish this week has not been good at all. This is what I've been doing. I've thrown buzz baits, I've thrown walking topwater baits, I've thrown poppers. Nothing on a topwater bait this week at all. I've thrown chatterbaits, I've thrown jerk baits, nothing on a jerk bait, a few fish on a chatterbait, and I'm throwing a green pumpkin chatterbait, ½ ounce. For every bite or fish that I get on that chatterbait, I'll miss 2 or 3. So that's telling me the fish aren't really coming up and eating them. I'm getting a reaction bite every now and then. One will come up and grab it and hook themselves, but they're really not coming up and eating them. So as far as plastics go, I've thrown literally every kind of worm, all the colors, the normal colors that we throw out here. I've thrown Nico rig, weightless wacky, drop shot, T-rig, weightless worms, pretty much everything I could think of, and every kind of creature bait and crayfish imitation that I can think of, and I am just not getting the love, I guess is what you call it. Every now and then I'll get a bite, mostly small bucks, but there's no pattern at all. I have fished the outside in 8 to 10 feet of water. I have fished pockets. I fished inside. What I haven't done is done a lot of punching, and it's primarily because the days that I've been out here it's been pretty windy, but I'm going to start punching because I'm starting to, the last few days I've got in real tight and I'm running the flats in there. I'm seeing a lot of beds with nothing on them, and these are beds that a week ago or 2 weeks ago you could see fish that they may not be locked on the beds, but they were in the areas looking to find them, and you saw a lot of males. Nothing. There's no fry garter, so we know they didn't come in and spawn and all of a sudden, pull off. They're coming in, looking around, and pulling out. What I have found is that I've seen several big fish, but they are tucked way the heck in there, and I think it's because of the water clarity. When these big fish get in shallow water, they don't like it. They need to have cover, so they are super finicky, and until they absolutely get locked on the bed, they are really tough to catch. So if you're coming out this weekend, you know what I've been doing. You might try some punching. Don't be afraid to get up in shallow water, but it's got to have a lot of cover, and you're going to have to punch into it because those big fish are tucked in there, and don't expect that they're all over in every little crevice. I'm moving, and finding, you know, one fish every half an hour, 45 minutes that looks like it's a fishable fish. I will spook fish out, but the fish that, you know, if you think you're going to do some sight fishing or fishing to one fish, you've got to cover a lot of ground to find that fish this week. That's the report. I hope it helps some of you guys that are coming out on the weekend. Like I said, don't be afraid of the weather. It hasn't been terrible. You're going to have to deal with a little wind, but this is the Delta. This is the springtime. It's going to happen for the next few weeks, and then we'll start getting into summer conditions. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And until then, make sure you tune in next week. I hope to have a better report for you. Hope to see you guys on the water. Thank you for watching, and good luck.